The prospect of building and maintaining your own Jurassic Park or Jurassic World is an exciting one. Dinosaurs are cool and it would be incredible to see them living and breathing again. However, if the films are anything to go by, bringing dinosaurs back by means of cloning isn't the smartest idea, especially with all the running and screaming that almost always follows it. Thankfully, we can do this from the safety of our own homes thanks to the existence of Jurassic World Evolution 2, the sequel to the 2018 management sim of the same name, the first one since the release of Jurassic Park Operation Genesis back in 2003. The good news is that, for the most part, it improves and adds enough to feel like a worthy sequel, however, it could be a little better. Jurassic World Evolution 2 does have a story of sorts, and it takes place after the events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. You're brought in to assist the Department of Fishing and Wildlife to create non-profit sanctuaries by rounding up some of the dinos that are running free and making them comfortable in an enclosure that's suited to their needs. It's essentially one big tutorial for the other modes as it shows you the ropes, but it does so pretty well. It references some stuff from the film series too, and some of the actors such as Jeff Goldblum and Bryce Dallas Howard reprise their roles as Dr. Ian Malcolm and Claire Dearing respectively. It's an interesting premise and is actually a nice way to ease you into the gameplay. Jurassic World Evolution 2, like all management sims, is best played with a keyboard and mouse. However, it actually translates pretty well to a controller and the movement is both quick and accurate. The user interface also keeps you up to date on any necessary info for running your park. If you would like to play with a keyboard and mouse, the game does offer support for it, allowing you to have the most accurate control as you zip around the park. Not only that, but the UI also updates immediately as soon as it detects input from a keyboard and mouse, and vice versa. It's actually quite a satisfying gameplay loop as it has you controlling the varying aspects of the park, from erecting buildings to provide certain functions, from managing the profitability of amenities to getting into the pilot seat of a helicopter to tranquilize dinosaurs. There's a fair amount to do. It's also quite addictive and will result in you sinking a fair amount of hours into a session without actually realizing it. Once the campaign has been completed, there are additional modes available that will offer a new challenge. Firstly, there's Challenge Mode, which tasks you with starting a park from scratch and turning it into a 5-star park. However, each takes place in a different location and features a different set of missions to be completed. These can be completed on any difficulty, however, more unlocks become available with increasingly harder settings. The next mode available is Chaos Theory, which is an interesting one because it puts you in charge of the various failed parks from the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World films to see how they would fare under your management. Each park features its own difficulty, however, and won't necessarily become increasingly harder if you happen to follow the sequence of the films. Sandbox mode is pretty self-explanatory and the final mode that should be played. This gives you free rein to create a park by either playing with normal settings or customizing it to be the easiest management experience ever. Everything from the economy to weather or dinosaur lifespan can be toggled to your liking. The only caveat is that if you head into this mode first, it's going to be a little skimpy on features and dinosaurs, since playing and completing the other modes unlock dinosaurs and upgrades for you to use in sandbox mode. The modes on offer are great and provide a fair amount of challenge for both management sim novices and veterans alike. There's also quite a bit of value since, depending on your skill level, each map can take upwards of 3 hours to complete. Even after all of that, sandbox mode becomes one giant playground where you're able to use all of your unlocks. Now onto the dinosaurs themselves. Building and maintaining a park doesn't mean just dropping some dinos into an enclosure and then putting them on display. You need to care for them and make them feel right at home. There are over 70 different dinosaur species available in the game, and it's honestly so exciting to release them into an enclosure and then editing everything around them to suit their needs. It's not always that simple though, and can be somewhat challenging. Another aspect that poses a challenge when incubating dinosaurs is the fact that they're different and have their own personality traits, be it good or bad. This can be alleviated somewhat by editing their genome to lessen their effect or completely remove undesirable traits. Additionally, this can be used to edit the color of their skin. A great improvement over its predecessor is Jurassic World Evolution 2's inclusion of both flying and aquatic dinosaurs. You'll be able to incubate and subsequently release these two types into aviaries and lagoons respectively, which is a nice change from the roster of land dwellers from the first game. To further add to the species list, Jurassic World Evolution 2 already has its first pack out in the form of the early Cretaceous pack, and this gives you access to 4 new dinosaurs, 2 new land types, 1 aquatic and 1 flying. Specifically, it unlocks the Minmi, Werosaurus, Disungaripterus and Kronosaurus. These 4 are different from the popular species featured in the films, but they are a welcomed addition, not to mention that they have been recreated beautifully in the game. Not all is well with Jurassic World Evolution 2, however. These aren't major issues, but they do hamper the experience somewhat. One thing that can almost be guaranteed is how often you might have to send one of your dinosaurs to the paleomedical unit. This is due to how quickly they can become injured, either by clashing with another dinosaur or some outlandish issue such as swallowing a guest's phone. These incidents happen pretty often, and at one point had me considering building another paleomedical unit in order to treat 2 dinosaurs at once. Not only is this quite pricey, but it also requires 1 or 2 of your scientists to perform the treatment. Speaking of the scientists, they earn some fairly high salaries and can only perform a certain number of tasks before they need to rest, which also costs a pretty penny. If they happen to enter a state of unrest, they might sabotage parts of your park, which leads to even higher expenses. These are pretty cool to manage at first, but tend to become more of an annoyance as time goes on. Visually, Jurassic World Evolution 2 looks fantastic on the PS5, with dinosaurs in particular looking quite breathtaking. Zooming in on them as they explore their enclosure is quite the experience because the animation and detail are just that good. Additionally, the audio complements the game's visuals rather well. You're going to hear some familiar themes from the films, and the voice acting from the actors reprising their respective roles is quite a nice touch. What really stands out, however, are the roars, hisses and other sounds made by the dinosaurs. It's amazing to listen to as you navigate around your park and pick out the specific sounds. Jurassic World Evolution 2 is a worthy sequel. It features a rewarding campaign that shows you the ropes rather well, not to mention a nice handful of other modes to sink your time into. The gameplay can be incredibly addictive as you build and manage your park, chasing a 5-star rating as you go. It's not without its faults though, and these do hamper the experience somewhat. However, the dinosaurs make it quite worthwhile simply because of how authentic they feel in game. Jurassic World Evolution 2 is quite an improvement over its predecessor and is one that should keep players busy for plenty of hours. It's going to be interesting to see what Frontier Developments does next. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button, and if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you got your hands on Jurassic World Evolution 2, please let me know what you thought of the game in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.